subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The pandemic brought in distress as well as some new learnings, especially for our farming community. ThePrint traveled to Chikbalapur and Todbalapur talukas near Bengaluru to understand what farmers have been doing to help themselves post-COVID and lockdown. We visited around 6 to 8 villages and found each of them had some unique way of tackling the pandemic situation. We first visited Chikbalapur, nearly 60 kilometers away from India's IT capital, Bengaluru. A region that is famous for its grape, onion and tomato cultivation, farmers have faced enormous losses. Karnataka as a state accounts for over 30% of the country's wine production. While the northern belt of the state has earned the title of the California Belt of Karnataka, Chikbalapur also has its own grapes to be proud of. Chikbalapur and Todbalapur near Bengaluru also produce nearly 200 tons of the famous Red Globe and Bangalore Blue grapes.
While we have been speaking to farmers around the area of Chikbalapur and Todbalapur, which is around 70 to 80 kilometers away from Bengaluru, one of the biggest things that they have been saying is that they did face a lot of distress when the complete lockdown took place. Their produces were not going because transportation was completely stalled, and they were also running heavy losses because some of the seasonal fruits and vegetables had to be sold then and there, and they could not keep it in their homes or warehouses. Another problem is that they could not shift a lot of their produce to warehouses, be it onions or tomatoes, or like this grape orchard that I stand here. So what happened was largely they said that initially they faced problems. They started taking their tractors and trucks and landing up in Bengaluru city and going and visiting residences and homes to distribute these products to them, and that is how directly farm to flat the concept did take off. While they said that if they were selling grapes on a normal year, which is a non-COVID year, they were selling anything between 150 to 200 rupees. This is after they've sold it to the vendors and to supermarkets. But during COVID, it has come down, crashing to around 80 rupees to 100 rupees a kilo. But they said that it was at least better to sell their produce than not sell it at all.
The many months of lockdown and the tough economic situation had forced farmers to become innovative. According to Karnataka's agricultural estimates, nearly rupees 250 crore worth of grapes was waiting to be transported from Chikbalapur alone between the months of March to June. Lack of buyers and transportation forced several of the farmers in Karnataka to look for other options. While many destroyed their produce as they were perishable goods, they also came up with innovative ways of reaching out to customers by selling from farms to flats. These grape farms in Muddanahalli in Chikbalapur had a good yield this year, but Pratap Gowda lost several kilos of his produce as they began to rot. Apart from grapes, he also grew marigolds and roses in his farms, and during the nationwide lockdown, he had to destroy nearly 80% of his crop. But then, just like other farmers close to the city, he took his van and loaded his cars with their produce and began selling it directly to consumers by individually visiting gated properties and complexes.
ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಕರೋನಾಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇತ್ತು? ಈಗ
ಮುಂಚೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಇದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಕೊರೋನಾ ಇವಾಗ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ತಿಂಗಳಿನಿಂದ ಏನು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಗಾಡಿ ಯಾರು ಕರೆಯರೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲಸಗಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ವಾಪಸ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ. ಊರ್ ಬಂದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಈಗ?
ತೋಟಗಳು ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರೆ. ಮಾವಿನ ಗಿಡ ಅದು ಇದು ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಯಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಉಡ್ಸೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಔಷಧಿಗಳು ನಡೆಸೋದು, ಗೊಬ್ಬರಗಳು ಹಾಕೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು.
ಬಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಅವರದೆಲ್ಲ?
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಪ್ರೋನಾಗಿದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮವರೇ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ ಊರಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು.
ಮುಂಚೆ ನಮಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 150 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಅದನ್ನು ಅವ್ರು ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ 200 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ಸೂಪರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಇವಾಗ ಈ ಕೊರೋನಾ ಬಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ನಾವೇ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಇವಾಗ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 80ರಿಂದ 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೋದ್ರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೋದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದು ನಮಗೇನು ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕೂಲಿ, ಆಳು, ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಬೆಳೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನು ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ಸು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡೋದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೇನು ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಆ ಲೋನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೀರ್ಸೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ.
Tile factories such as these have been closed down since March. Most of the laborers are migrant workers and have not returned from their native. After the Karnataka government opened up the state for all businesses, there is still a fear of the virus spread that has forced people to remain in their hometowns and not return to the city. The one thing that COVID has taught people is to innovate, and the rural industry has adapted to the concept very well. Rohini Swamy for ThePrint in Bangalore.